like about this group is that it understands that we need many different tactics and many different ways of working, and the PDA brilliance of using this inside-outside strategy is something that I think is absolutely critical, and I thank PDA for that. They've just organized 2 of these roundtables in Congress that have been extremely useful, where people from different NGOs, movement groups get to actually hear from Congress people themselves or members of their staff about what they're working on the inside and what we're working on the outside, and how we can really collaborate, because that's really how we become effective, is when we work like an orchestra, that everybody's doing their different piece and it actually harmonizes instead of clashes with each other. So many, many thanks to PDA and Tim Carpenter for his brilliance in pushing and pushing on that strategy. And I think in the second term of the Obama administration is when we can really see the results of that, because there's less of a feeling like we have to go along with everything the Democrats say because there's an election coming up, and more of a feeling of, okay, now is the time for us to really see progress in the progressive agenda. And in terms of the piece that I want to talk about on the progressive agenda, it's amazing to me how the Obama administration has gotten away with what they've gotten away with in terms of these drone strikes. I mean, these drone strikes are the most illegal thing that you can imagine. We are going into countries that we're not at war with. We are going into countries where they say, what are you doing? Don't come in here. And we are doing it behind the backs of the American people, so that Americans think this is a good policy because they know nothing about it. They think we're not killing innocent people because we have people like John Brennan, who is now nominated to be the head of the CIA, telling us that we haven't killed innocent people, or maybe it's just a handful, when we've killed thousands of people that certainly have not had a chance to have a trial, certainly have not had a chance to surrender. And if this were happening under the Bush administration, there would be a huge outcry around this country from anybody who cares about international law, who cares about civil rights, human rights, who cares about just basics of a moral society. And instead, we have had for basically the last 4 years a hush over the American people, who have said in one poll a year ago that 83% of them thought that this was a good policy to kill terrorist, quote, suspects. And we have had a Congress that's been missing in action, that hasn't spoken up about this. We have a chance to really turn this around now. And what I see the needs are educating, mobilizing, and then changing policy and getting an international regulation. So on those fronts quickly. Education, we're out there now in a big way, I think, in communities around this country. There's a core group of people who are out constantly giving talks. I wrote this book, Drone Warfare, Killing by Remote Control, and I hope you'll get a copy of it here, because it's important to know just how dangerous this new precedent of drone warfare is. In terms of mobilizing, I'm so excited. If I talked a year ago, I would have been very depressed about this. And now you see just amazing mobilizing going around, especially where there are bases here that pilots are remotely controlling these airplanes that are killing people thousands of miles away. There are protests outside of those bases, like in upstate New York. Anybody here from upstate New York? They have a fabulous a number of different cities in upstate, where they are constantly going out to the Hancock base there and protesting, getting arrested, doing it again. They call it a Gandhian wave. They're just back and back and back again. It's happening at the Creature Air Force Base in Nevada. It's happening at the Whiteman Air Force Base. It's happening in many different parts of the country. Now people are turning their attention to the headquarters of the manufacturers. There's a mobilization nationally being called at the beginning of April in San Diego, the headquarters of General Atomics that makes most of these Predator and Reaper drones. The mobilizing is also happening in the offices of the Congress people who need to hear from us. And also with now the opportunity of John Brennan being nominated, focusing on him himself. We just went out to his house the other night in the cold and the rain and had a great vigil holding pictures of the people who have been killed and putting up signs around his neighborhood that this guy, instead of being the head of the CIA, should be before an international court for murder. He was no good for this position 4 years ago because his his high up position in the CIA, where they were using torture, extraordinary rendition, and enhanced interrogation techniques that he said were good, and now he should be good enough to be head of the CIA? No way. So we need to be out there speaking out, but it's also a time for us to push Congress on this. We have some movement going. Keith Ellison had a great letter in the Washington Post this week that said that we have to be concerned about civilian casualties, that a kill list should be going through a judicial process and not just what the president and his advisors like John Brennan think, and that there have to be international regulations. There's a letter that Ron Wyden, the senator, put out, very good, saying we don't even have the legal memos that justify this program. We in Congress, and he said, we on the Intelligence Committee can't even get these legal memos. Release these to us now. That's something that we should be able to push for. The other thing that we have a chance to do now is to reach out across borders. We took a group of 34 people to Pakistan, where we found an amazing kind of response from the Pakistanis that really want to work with us to stop this killing program. The same thing we have to do in places like Yemen, where the drones are killing so many people. And on that international front, we also need to work towards just like a landmines and a cluster bomb ban, we need something that will at least regulate the use of these killer drones. And I want to point out that just this week there was a wonderful letter put out in the New York Times by somebody who was a legal advisor to the CIA Counterterrorism Center, and it was called, "Who Says You Can Kill Americans, Mr. President?" And she was asking, again, the legal justification for the killing program overseas, and especially the killing of Americans overseas with these drones. And finally, I want to say that while it's unfortunate that we still have a majority of Americans who think that this policy is okay because it saves the lives of our soldiers and because they think it is such a precise weapon, which it is not, the rest of the world is not fooled by this. And when the Pew Center did a study that asked 20 countries around the world what they thought of the drone policy, in every single country they thought it was horrific. From China to Germany to Mexico, and then certainly in the Muslim countries. In the Muslim countries, 9 out of 10 said they were opposed to this. This drone policy has become the biggest recruiting tool for Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. So anybody that says that it is good in making us safe here at home is absolutely wrong. This is something that is creating more enemies faster than we can kill them. And what we have to do is bring the American people in line with the rest of the world community to say no to the killer drones. So we're going to be passing around a sign-up sheet now. We hope you will sign up with us. Come out and join us. You can make your opposition to the killer drones known to people all over this country. And join us as we continue to mobilize throughout the year, because I think this is something that we can win. And I think a year from now, you will see a changed policy around this if you come and join us. Thank you.